It's like foreshadowing.
Is it red ink?
Yes.
We'll go ahead and get started. I'd like to welcome each and every one of you to tonight's City Board of Directors meeting this Tuesday, May 21st. And we'll start off with invocation by Shelley Shattuck, and I'll lead the Pledge of Allegiance. Please rise.
Dear Heavenly Father, God, thank you so much for being our Father. Lord, I thank you for Hot Springs. I thank you for what you've been doing here for so many years. And I thank you, Father, for these leaders who are committed to serving our community and making this a better place for all of us. I pray that you would give them wisdom. I pray that you would give them discernment as they make decisions, and just bless them. In Jesus' name, amen.
Amen.
Please join me for the pledge.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
We'll call this meeting to order. Please call the roll.
Holiday. Here. Jones.
Here.
Clark. Here. Weatherford.
Here.
Garcia.
Here.
Folly.
Here.
McCabe.
Here. I'd like to welcome City Director District 1 and Aaron Holliday for our first meeting.
Thank you. Thank you.
I'm no longer the youngest person on the Board of Directors.
Just by a few months.
Director
Mayor.
Clark
Just
made
by a
mention
few
of that during the process that I was just a month or two younger than she was, and I was surprised at that. I thought she was much younger. So.
Keep going.
Nice
Well, what
catch.
about the rest
Good.
of us, Mayor?
Pardon? We're going to move along before I get in trouble. Consider the approval of the agenda. Are there any additions, deletions to the agenda, or items you'd like to have moved from consent to new business? Hearing none, I'll entertain a motion to approve.
So move.
Second.
Motion by Director Garcia, second by Director Foley. All in favor of the agenda as presented, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed, same sign. Agenda is approved. Approval of the minutes. We had two sets of minutes, the regular scheduled meeting of Tuesday, May 7th, and the specially called meeting on Tuesday, May 14th. Are there any additions, deletions, or corrections to the minutes as presented? Hearing none, I'll entertain a motion to approve as presented.
So moved.
Motion
Second.
by Director Clark, seconded by Director Jones. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All same sign. Minutes are approved. Recognition of guests. Ms. Zunick, are you your group here? Yes. Very good. Mary Zunick has a
Good afternoon, or good
significant group.
evening. My name is Mary Zunick. I am the Cultural Affairs Manager for Visit Hot Springs. I'm also the Executive Director of the Sister City program. And each year, a group of students are able to submit applications in the winter. The top applicants are interviewed, and the top scores from the interview are selected to represent the city of Hot Springs and travel to Hanamaki. Those students are representatives of Hot Springs. They've worked very hard to raise the money. We do a cherry blossom festival thanks to the Sister City Foundation, which is the nonprofit portion of the Sister City program that supports the student exchange and helps them raise money. So it's all thanks to the Sister City Foundation and their hard work and the hard work of their parents. So I would like to, if they could come up and just introduce themselves, just
Very good.
give you their name. Okay? Come on. Your name and your school.
My name is Isabel Setley, and I'm homeschooled.
My name is Connor Howe, and I go to Connections Academy.
My name is Daisha Brown, and I go to Hot Springs High School.
My name is Pauline Roach, and I go to Fountain Lake.
My name is Saraswati Hills Erickson, and I go to Hot Springs High School.
My name is Elizabeth Chavez, and I go to Hot Springs Junior Academy.
My name is Luke Stouffer. I go to ASMSA, originally from Fort Smith.
My name is Hadley Medlock. I go to ASMSA, and I'm originally from Alma.
Thank you. That'll be
I'm Dave Slaymaker. I'm an assistant dean for outreach at the Arkansas School for Mathematics, Sciences, and the Arts, and we're really happy to be able to have our students participate in the Sister City trip. This is the second year that we have joined forces with them, and it's a really, really wonderful opportunity for all the students. So thank you to everyone in the city for allowing this to happen.
Thank you. It'll be a wonderful learning experience for them and one that they'll cherish the rest of their lives. So thank you, Mary, and all to putting this program together. Thank you. Now we have another special presentation today, and we'd like to call upon Director Deshaun Scarborough of the Arkansas Martin Luther King Commission.
Thank you so much. Thank you. To the Mayor, Mayor McCabe, honored city council members, thank you for this opportunity to present on behalf of the Arkansas Martin Luther King Jr. Commission. I'm Deshaun Scarborough, your Executive Director of the King Commission. And just to tell you a little bit about the King Commission, our goal is to promote racial harmony, multicultural diversity, and social equality for all Arkansans. We also work closely with Dr. King's daughter, Dr. Bernice King, at the King Center of Nonviolence for Social Change in Atlanta. Our goal is basically continue promoting understanding and acceptance of nonviolence and equal opportunity. Now, Mayor, we had the opportunity in May of 2017 to host our first Nonviolence Youth Summit dedicated to technology and computer science right here in Hot Springs, and you were there. Thank you so much for that. We had the support of several students and educators who showed up to support the conference. Congressman Bruce Westerman's office sent representatives, and it was also featured on the front page of your Sentinel. The support and participation were so remarkable that I'm pleased to announce that Hot Springs will be the host city for the Commission's first Juneteenth celebration. This is a family-friendly event. It is free and open to the public and inclusive for all races and everyone from all ethnicities. The celebration will take place on Saturday, June 15th, 2019 from 3 p.m. to 7 p.m. at the historic Farmers Market. To give you a little insight, Juneteenth commemorates the 1865 announcement of the emancipation of enslaved African Americans throughout the former Confederate States of America. The Commission has partnered with several great organizations and agencies right here in Hot Springs. This program will highlight education history, families, and community service. I'd like to take a moment and recognize our area partnerships at this time for those individuals who will assist us with this endeavor. The City of Hot Springs. Hot Springs branch of the NAACP number 6013. Hot Springs School District. Difference Makers. Diamonds in the Rough. Community Empowerment Network of Hot Springs. Langston Reunion Committee. Langston Garden Neighborhood Association. The Hot Springs MLK Committee. The Webb Community Center. And the Hot Springs Fire and Police Department. There will be several opportunities for community service. We are in need of volunteers and vendors to come out and provide water stations and services to the public. This event will include reenactments by youth, local groups, live entertainment, free food, and special presentations from none other than Officer Tommy Norman, Reverend Will Parker, and the cousin of Emmett Till, and I promise you there will be something for the whole family. It is an honor, again, Mayor, to come to Hot Springs and receive great support and work with great people. And speaking of great people, we didn't want to come back to Hot Springs without recognizing one of your own, one of your residents, one of your citizens. Hot Springs educator, Miss Laura West. Miss Laura West is gifted and talented coordinator for the Hot Springs School District. It is an honor for us to commend Miss West, as she is always hospitable and gracious every time we come to Hot Springs to provide educational outreach for the youth and community. Tonight, we present her with the Drum Major for Education Award. In Dr. King's sermon, The Drum Major Instinct, he talks about a person who is always willing to take the lead when it comes to service. Now, I learned from a good friend of mine how to turn coal into diamonds. Coal is a combustible black or brownish black sedimentary rock. In the beginning, we view all students as coal, limited value that must have added value. Coal has the same properties as diamonds. One may ask, how is coal turned into diamonds? Through long and slow process of heat and pressure, it creates clarity and resiliency. Coal burns up diamonds. Diamonds do not. Diamonds are forever. Well, that is the educational process right here in Hot Springs with our students. Education creates clarity and resiliency. A gemologist is a specialist who appraises gems, raw diamonds. Students, those students we spoke of, they have value. However, more value can be created when a gemologist, the teacher, helps to remove the flaws and creates the facets that make them appealing. You see, Ms. West is an educational gemologist for students. She helps to remove flaws and creates facets that make students more valuable. The Arkansas Martin Luther King Jr. Commission is inspired by her dedication to children, education, and promoting positive programming and opportunities for youth. She would make a great ambassador, hint, hint, for the city of Hot Springs. Dr. King valued education and service, therefore, on behalf of the state's Arkansas Martin Luther King Jr. Commission, I proudly present the 2019 Drum Major for Education Award to none other than Miss Laura West. We're going to take one more step further. This outstanding individual also goes above and beyond to make certain that the communities are always taken care of. So we're also presenting the 2019 Outstanding Volunteer Award to Ms. Laura West for her selfless community commitment, and contributions to our community. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much.
To the council members, Mayor, thank you so much for your time. I certainly appreciate it.
Thank you. This time I'd like to call Olivia Brine to the podium and ask City Director Garcia to read a proclamation.
Thank you, Mayor. It's an honor to read this proclamation, whereas the month of May is a marker in the special needs community as being a month dedicated to increasing awareness of childhood apraxia of speech, or CAS, a challenging neurological speech disorder in children. And whereas childhood CAS causes children to have a significant difficulty learning to speak and is among the most severe speech deficits in children, and whereas the approximate early intervention therapies such as speech, occupational, physical, and behavioral are all very critical in making sure CAS does not cause secondary impacts such as educational, emotional, behavioral traits for the diagnosed child. Such impacts could diminish the opportunity for future independence and employment opportunities if not resolved. And whereas most children with CAS will learn to communicate with their own voices, but only after receiving early intervention and approximate intensive and frequent speech therapy. And whereas it is imperative there be greater public awareness about CAS in the city of Hot Springs among community members, physicians, educational professionals, policymakers, and elected officials, and whereas funders such as insurance providers, schools, policymakers are encouraged to recognize the critical need to provide adequate speech therapy and other services so that the impact of the disorder is minimalized and so that thousands of affected children can grow into productive, contributing adult citizens that will give back to our community and raise awareness themselves. And whereas our highest respect goes to these children, as well as their families, for their effort, determination, and resilience in the face of such obstacles. Now, therefore, Pat McCabe, the mayor of the city of Hot Springs, on behalf of the board of directors of the city of Hot Springs, do hereby proclaim May 2019 is Apraxia Awareness Month in Hot Springs, Arkansas. Yes, and if you want to say anything, this is very special to me.
I just wanted to thank all of you. This has been a pretty long journey for us. We were only diagnosed just a year ago, but every day is an obstacle. I am just one parent. But being that one parent, I feel that it is my place to be my child's voice and to make others aware that there are so many disabilities out there that are invisible. They deserve to be recognized as well. This impacts her everyday life. So having other people aware of what's going on, not just in therapy centers, but in places of education. They're going to a park, speaking to other children. It's a daily struggle. So I just want to thank you guys for allowing this to happen. It's just a small step on where we need to go, but thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. This time I'd like to call Anthony Whittington, Parks and Trails Director for the City of Hot Springs.
Thank you, Mayor, members of the board. The Hot Springs Creek Greenway Trail recently won 2 awards, both for the same section, the Happy Old Troll Trail section, or the, as they call it, or the Utility Service Centers Phase 3, which is the elevated boardwalk section that you see from Golf Links and Winans Bridge. The first award we received is from the Arkansas chapter of the American Council of Engineering Companies for the Engineering Excellence Honor Award. And our second award is from the Arkansas chapter of the American Public Works Association. We won Small Project of the Year award. So this was an incredible project. If you haven't seen it in person, it's a wonderful addition to the Greenway Trail. It's beautiful to walk, that elevated boardwalk, and a lot of time and effort went through it, and it's great. The current trail is 2.5 miles long. It out of the 4.2 mile goal, and so we do have funding in place to start the next section, and so hopefully. We'll start that this year. So, but I just want to bring this to y'all, and this is a great thing we got. So, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Congratulations.
At this time, we'll hear from our city manager, Bill Burrows, for the city manager's report.
Thank you, Mayor, members of the board. Before I really get into my report, if I could, I see our city engineer, Gary Carnahan, out in the audience. Gary, could you come up to the podium for a minute?
When Bill calls, I always get my pen and pad out. So,
just for the public and the members of our board, last month, Matt Dunn was inducted into the Arkansas Academy of Civil Engineering, which is one of the highest honors an engineer can receive in our state. I sent a congratulatory email when he was here. We shook hands, high-fived, and a lot of backslapping. What we found out is on that same night, April 12th, 2019, our own city engineer, Gary Carnahan, was also inducted into the Arkansas Academy of Civil Engineering. The Arkansas Academy of Civil Engineering is an accomplished group of civil engineering alumni who have shown exceptional merit, are outstanding civil engineers, and eminent graduates of the University of Arkansas Fayetteville Civil Engineering Department. Gary graduated from the College of Engineering with a civil engineering bachelor's degree and went on to get his master's in 1993. Gary has been putting his engineering education to use for over 45 years. And on behalf of the board, administrative staff, your engineering team, we just want to say congratulations to you on this distinguished honor and let you know how much we appreciate your leadership skills and your work ethic. I see it every day, and we are so fortunate to have you on our team, so thank you. And congratulations. We had to do a little digging to find that out. I don't think you would have ever told us. He's so humble. Mayor, on June 4th and 5th, we will take part in a poverty summit. Hot Springs area community leaders will come together for a poverty summit organized by the Cooperative Christian Ministries and Clinic to raise awareness and to begin the process of developing a system-wide approach to create sustainable solutions regarding poverty and homelessness. The City of Hot Springs will take part in this particular project or program. Our portion of the summit will take place on June 4th from 9:30 to 11:30, and we're sponsoring a homeless roundtable, and that is an effort to bring all of our nonprofits together to have a discussion, a roundtable discussion regarding homelessness within our community. It's a decades-old problem throughout the United States. We're not the only ones. No one is immune to this particular problem, and many cities are working very hard to come up with a solution in their particular city, and we want to join that effort in ours. I don't think the city is the solution to our homeless population, but I do think we can play a role, and that role is trying to bring our nonprofits together. We kind of have a shotgun approach right now where we have some great things happening by our nonprofits, but they all have limited resources. And there's some best practices out there and some other programs that are really having some great success, and we're going to present those to these nonprofit groups to see if there's a potential to come together and collaborate and form a coalition and pull some of those resources and go for some of the grants that currently they may be competing for, but we could win some of those grants to maybe make a more laser-focused effort on our homeless situation, which will then carry over through the afternoon as CCMC discusses poverty and poverty simulations, as well as another round of events on the second day, June 5th, which is their Bridges Out of Poverty training. The 9:30 to 11:30 is free to the public. It's free to our nonprofits to come and hear this message. There will be box lunches from 11:30 to 12:15. Those are $15, and then they'll start the afternoon program about 1:45. City offices, Mayor, will be closed on Monday in observance of Memorial Day. We will have public safety, and the airport will be open. Couple other bits of news. This last Saturday, rain didn't seem to hamper the annual Household Hazardous Waste event. It was a huge success. 69,000 pounds of hazardous chemicals were being collected from 368 customers that came to the fairgrounds. This is one of our largest collection events for this type of waste. We want to thank West Central Planning and Development, as well as the Solid Waste Management District. They're the ones who actually funded the program, so in partnership, we'd like to thank them. We did have a lot of our solid waste staff, so Randy Atkinson and his team did a great job. With that, Mayor, I don't have anything else.
Will there be sanitation pickup in the downtown merchants on Monday?
Yes. Commercial operations will be running. Residential will run 1 day behind schedule. Same with your recycling for that particular day. So everything else will run as normal.
Very good. At this time, we'll entertain from the Board of Directors announcements of upcoming events. Any director have an upcoming event announcement? Moving on, we'll go to our consent agenda. These items tend to be of routine nature, do not require discussion. And so at this time, I'll entertain a motion to approve the consent agenda as presented.
So moved. So moved that we.
Director Jones, seconded by Director Garcia. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Consent agenda is adopted. We have 3 action items tonight under new business. 2 of them are resolutions and 1 is an ordinance. We'll begin with resolution number R 1990 and ask the city attorney to read by title.
Resolution R 1990, a resolution awarding a contract to Design Workshop for certain professional planning services related to the comprehensive plan. That concludes your reading, Mayor. If you would entertain a motion second to adopt and have discussion if any.
Motion to adopt.
So moved.
Director
Second.
Jones. Director Foley as a second. And Director Kathy Selman of the Planning Department. Welcome.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Good evening. I want to talk a little bit about what a comprehensive plan is before we get to the business of considering the contract. This is a big expenditure and a very important activity that our city is considering. Will take us through the end of 2019 to work on this and get it put together. But what it is a plan for 2040, a long-range plan, to validate and pull together broad aspects of community interest and concern in a unified document. This was approved in the Board of Directors 2019 budget. Thank you for that. It will be the foundation for city codes and the capital improvements that will implement it. Plan goals and policies offer a platform for reinforcing the positive aspects of the city while striving to overcome barriers to success in achieving the plan's vision. In this room, we often mention outdated sections in our zoning code. The zoning code actually implements the comprehensive plan. So rather than continuing to make piecemeal changes, we'll be evaluating our vision and goals for tomorrow's Hot Springs and then coming to you certain with many proposed changes in the code. The plan itself is not regulatory. It relies on legislative, policy, and budgetary decisions of you, the elected officials. Change, of course, happens whether we plan for it or not. Hot Springs today is so different from the Hot Springs of 2010 when we adopted our last plan. I'm told it's really different from 1997 when we did the big plan that preceded the one in 2010. I was interested to notice when I was going through the 1997 plan that one of the stakeholders was Director Randy Foley. So we have some real institutional memory right here as we look forward to our upcoming plan. And you'll be involved again. So. Yeah, can't hide from me. 2030's plan, the Hot Springs 2030 plan that we did 9 years ago, was a bare bones plan. It was budgeted during economic hard times, and things are better now. We're seeing things change. We've seen many single-purpose plans developed over the past several years. The board adopted an economic and downtown development plan, a pedestrian and parking plan, using many of the strategies that were suggested in the Hot Springs 2030 plan. The board adopted and implemented annexation of enclave areas, established a utilities extension and service policy, adopted a water system master plan, funded a green infrastructure plan, identifying and implementing low-impact development strategies, and supported additional resources toward neighborhood revitalization and code enforcement, along with many other activities. The real challenge comes in translating the plan strategies into day-to-day actions of our operations and making the plans work in concert with the city's other strategic action and policy documents. The single-purpose plans that have been done are still relevant. The comprehensive plan will take new information and goals and combine that with the data and analysis of the city's many existing plans involving city leadership, stakeholders, and the public, with a focus on a coordinated future vision with specific measurable goals. And I think that is a very important aspect of any plan. You can sit there, you can say what you think would be great, but when it comes down to the rubber meeting the road, making budget decisions and so forth, that's where it really happens. So this is really the first step of creating a future for Hot Springs. And the strategy of this plan will be to weigh those previous plans with community desires, needs, and resources. I mentioned the 1997 comprehensive plan. That was a very linear plan organized by specific operation: parks and recreation, water, land use. The system for doing plans, best practices, if you will, have changed over the years, and today a more thematic approach is what is being taken, and this allows us to look at goal areas such as neighborhood revitalization or economic diversification, and take those things from the operating plans that we have and assess them. What have we done so far? What still needs to be done, and what things just aren't relevant or things that we want to do anymore, and allow us to sort through those multiple goals that we have come together with in the last years. Hot Springs is special. We want to promote a built environment that reflects Hot Springs, its unique landscape and culture, by providing better housing choices, urban design, preserving and promoting a Hot Springs character, protecting historical assets, providing walkable streets and adequate park space within walking distance, as well as equitable access to common goods and services. And a key goal of this is to help improve dialogue, collaboration, and a shared sense of purpose with Garland County. I'm happy to tell you that the county judge and two of the quorum court members who have served on Planning Commission in the past have agreed to assist in a advisory status, and I think this will help us develop a regional view more so than we've been able to have recently. Hot Springs 2030 had several means of public involvement, and I think that you will see that in the proposed work program for developing the next comprehensive plan, public involvement remains critical, and we have a robust plan for carrying that out. Public involvement is a key element to having a plan implemented. Making those hard decisions without community support is not an easy thing. Hot Springs is special. We want to stay special. Preparing a community plan requires a team with multidisciplinary expertise, experience in land use planning, urban design, transportation, economics, and demographics, implementation strategies, and public involvement techniques. And after issuing a request for statements of qualifications, in which we had a wonderful response from very well-regarded firms, we did a rating and ranking and came up with the high score for design workshop. They are a multidisciplinary team. They have an excellent reputation and track record. They have a focus on economics, community, arts, and I think are a very good fit for Hot Springs as we make this big investment, not just of money, but also of time. And I'm happy to recommend them to you. You have seen the contract and the work program that is laid out there, and I hope that you will consider approving this item. Thank you.
Thank you. Any questions of Director Salmon? Director Garcia.
Was this reviewed by the Planning Commission also?
We had 3 Planning Commission representatives on the rating and ranking team.
That's who was served on that, so they reviewed it intensely.
They did review it, as well as our city engineer, finance director, and deputy city manager Lance Spicer.
Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Good report.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Mayor, I'd just like to add that, each year Kathy has tried to bring this comprehensive plan forward, and we just really have not been able to prioritize that into the budget scheme over the past few years, and this year we were able to do that. And as the board heard those recommendations during the budget work sessions, I just want to reiterate what Kathy said and thank the board for allowing us to get this into the budget this year. It's something we've needed for a long time, and Kathy, I appreciate your persistence each year and putting that in there. And a lot of times, to be fair with the board, it never made it to the board. It never made it through some of the administration as we looked at those priorities that we had in the budget. So thank you for that persistence, and thank you to the board.
Thank you, and thank you again to the board.
Thank you.
Director Filey.
Mr. Mayor, I would like to express my appreciation to Bill Burrow and to Ms. Selman for inviting some of the leadership from the county to make sure that this is a full community-wide process. I appreciate the efforts to engage them, and I just like the whole thing. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. We had no members of the public sign up to speak on this agenda item. Any further discussion amongst directors? Hearing none, please call the roll.
Jones.
Aye.
Clark. Aye. Weatherford.
Aye.
Garcia.
Aye.
Foley.
Aye.
Holiday. Aye. McCabe.
Aye. Resolution's adopted. This time we'll consider Resolution R 1991 and ask the city attorney to read by title.
Resolution R 1991, a resolution awarding a contract to Township Builders, Inc. for Lake Ouachita Water Supply Project Intake Structure Site. That concludes your reading, Mayor, if you would. Entertain a motion second to adopt and have discussion, if any.
Motion to adopt.
So moved.
Director Clark, seconded by
Second.
Director Garcia. And giving a staff report is Mr. Todd Pillar, Special Project Manager. Welcome.
Thank you, Mayor. Thank you, Aaron. I have a lot of projects I'm working on in the city right now, so you might see me here like every other week. Nice to meet you, too. Glad you're on board.
No, me too.
This resolution is for the preparation for our site, for our intake structure, is for the award of the contract to Township Builders. We took bids on May 6th. We had 3 bidders on May 6th, and Township was low, responsible bidder, and their amount was $159,080. And our Chris Engineers budget was between 155 and 160. So we're right there. What this is basically clearing a road, temporary services, through about 600 feet of Corps of Engineers property and 400 feet of Forest Service property to get to our intake drilling site. And this is the first construction contract of our Lake Washita water projects, and the very first one on the intake site. And we have a meeting tomorrow with the driller and the geotechnical folks to try to kick this off. Of course, this is financed by the 2018 water bond issue. With that, I'll answer any questions.
Any questions of Mr. Pillar? Thank you.
Thank you.
Again, we had no members of the public to sign up to speak on this issue, so any discussion amongst directors?
I would just like to clarify, this is a contract for clearing the site for access. That's it, correct?
Correct.
Okay. Thank you. Thank you.
Cutting a road. There be no further discussion. Please call the roll.
Clark. Aye. Weatherford.
Aye.
Garcia.
Aye.
Folly.
Aye.
Holiday. Aye. Jones.
Aye.
McCabe.
Aye. Resolution is adopted. Our final action item of the evening is an ordinance, and it'll be ordinance number 1920, and I'll consider a motion to suspend the rules and read by title only.
That's a move, Mayor.
Second.
Director Garcia,
Second.
Director Clark, to suspend the rules. All in favor of the motion to suspend the rules, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. City Council, please read by title.
Ordinance 01920, an ordinance amending ordinance number 5158 related to accessory building definition and for other purposes. That concludes your reading, Mayor. If you would, entertain a motion second to adopt and have discussion, if any.
Motion to adopt.
So moved.
Director Weatherford, seconded by Director Holliday.
Okay. Second.
Director of Planning and Development, Kathy Selman.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. An accessory building is a subordinate building, the use of which is clearly incidental to or customarily found in connection with and located on the same lot as the use of the main building or principal use of the land. And that's what Hot Springs Code says about them. They can be detached garages or sheds or whatever. We are only talking about residential zones in this proposed amendment. This amendment comes from Planning Commission in response to a request from staff for clarity in what limits there are on accessory buildings. You know that the code says it's subordinate, and it is subordinate to the primary use, and the primary use in a residential zone is a house. So we have recently begun seeing the construction of outsized buildings in some cases larger than the home. And these are in established neighborhoods, and we have had many complaints from other residents in those neighborhoods that these large structures are changing the visual character of their neighborhoods, as well as lending themselves to non-residential uses such as vehicle repair. And we have many complaints about those. The commercial impacts when vehicle repair is established in a residential neighborhood can include employee and customer traffic, noise, lights, and odors, and these conflict with surrounding neighbors and may negatively impact the perceived quality of life. What this proposed ordinance would do is add to that existing definition two things. One would limit the height of an accessory building to no more than the height of the main building or principal use. And again, we're talking about residential areas. The second one, the second part, would limit the aggregate area of accessory building structures to not exceed 50% of the area of the main building or house in this case. And again, this is only in residential areas and zones. It adds a quantitative standard for height and total square footage. Because it is a quantitative standard, there is an appeal process available to someone who believes that the code is creating a hardship that are unique to their individual property. And in those cases, the BZA can hear and grant, when it is demonstrated, a variance when such action would be in keeping with the spirit and intent of the provisions of the Hot Springs Code. Planning Commission heard this item at an advertised public meeting on May 9th, and no one testified either for or against the amendment. And by its vote of 8-0, Planning Commission accepted the findings and recommendation of the staff report to recommend that the Board of Directors approve the ordinance.
Very good. Thank you. Any questions of Director Selman? Director Foley.
Ms. Selman, does this include multi-resident structures as well? So if you have
It
an
does.
apartment complex
It does,
that's 3 stories high, can you have an outbuilding 3 stories high?
yes.
And if it's a complex, it can be considerably large.
It is theoretically possible under this code, yes. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Any further questions of Director Selman? If not, well, thank you.
Thank you.
Oh, Director Clark?
I assume existing, everything is grandfathered in, that this is
Yes,
only going
this
forward.
this doesn't impose additional approvals or fees, and it doesn't require that non-conforming structures be removed.
Thank you. We had no member of the public sign up to speak on this ordinance, so we'll have discussion amongst directors, if any. Hearing none, please call the roll.
Weatherford.
Aye.
Garcia.
Aye.
Foley.
Aye.
Holiday.
Aye.
Jones.
Aye.
Clark.
Aye.
McCabe.
Aye. Ordinance is adopted. I'd like to, we're now to the part where we're the meeting for board commentary. Any board of directors items for discussion? Director Garcia.
I just wanted to mention that tomorrow at Transportation Depot is a free event thanking Dick Antoine for his 31 years on the radio. He's retiring, and he's hosted a number of times for our city manager, police chief, members of the board to speak on the radio. And between 4 and 6 tomorrow at Transportation Depot, the people are invited to come by and thank him.
Good. Any other announcements? Director Holliday.
I just wanted to mention the event that took place about almost 2 weeks ago, Let Your Light Shine, that was put on by the Park Avenue Community Association and a lot of volunteers. And just to mention that it was a great success, to thank everyone who was involved, to thank those of you here at this table who also participated in the event. And the final numbers aren't out yet. They should be ready tomorrow, but PAC is very excited that they'll be able to order several more lights for Park Avenue. So we're really excited and proud of all the volunteer work. It's a great example of how the city works with a neighborhood organization to get some really nice infrastructure done.
Very good. It was a wonderful evening. Just a reminder to all those out in the listening audience and those here in the chambers, really need volunteers to serve on our varied boards and commissions. So if you have an interest in volunteering and serving on a board or commission, please step forward. There's plenty to do, not a whole lot of effort required, but you'll learn a lot and we'll learn from you. So please give of your time and talent.
Mayor, thank you for that. If someone's out there interested in getting additional information, they can call our city clerk's office, 321-6805. 321-6805. That's our city clerk's office, and they'll be able to get you additional information if you may have an interest in serving and need to know more about it.
What are some of the open slots?
We have several, actually. There's I don't think we have any that are completely full at this time. We have Parks and Trails, Airport Advisory. We have our Planning Commission,
CDAC.
CDAC. We have almost an opening on any of our boards and commissions, and we have a wide array of interest or areas that someone may be interested in. So if they want to call our city clerk's office, then we'll be able to get you that list and additional information on each one.
A lot of good and exciting things happening in each of those areas, and you'd be on the front line and putting your fingerprints on it. So look forward to volunteerism.
Yes, sir.
Any further announcements? Hearing none, I will direct our attention to the
If not, Mayor,
District 2.
move that we adjourn for the night.
Second.
Oh, I didn't think we were going to get a second there. All in favor, signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed, stay at home, stay here and turn the lights off.
I was going to second it.